Imagine this. You wake up one day, and maybe a third, maybe even half of your physical strength is just gone. Not like from an accident, not from being sick, but just quietly, relentlessly over years, and maybe you didn't even really notice it happening.
Right, sort of creeping up on you.
Exactly. We're talking about your muscles. And get this, by the time you reach 70, you might have already lost 40% of your muscle mass.
40%, that's substantial.
It really is. And this isn't just about feeling, a bit weaker. It's actually eroding your independence bit by bit.
And there are numbers to back that up, aren't there? From Johns Hopkins.
Yes, quite alarming ones. Johns Hopkins University found that seniors who experience significant muscle loss face a staggering 320% increased risk of developing mobility disabilities.
Wow, 320%.
Yeah, which can lead straight to needing wheelchairs, maybe even ending up in nursing homes.
It's a serious domino effect.
It is. Now, here's where it gets, really interesting. This accelerated muscle loss, especially after 65, it's often just brushed off. And people say, oh, it's just part of aging.
That common belief, yeah. We hear it all the time.
But that belief has kind of obscured this widespread issue of avoidable muscle decline. As doctors specializing in elderly health, we see this silent erosion of independence literally every single day.
It's heartbreaking sometimes, especially when you know steps could have been taken.
Precisely. And what's most concerning globally, really, is that many doctors are overlooking a key vitamin deficiency, one that could be speeding up your muscle loss right now.
And it's surprisingly common, this deficiency.
It is. A staggering 78% of seniors lack adequate levels of this often neglected nutrient, and it could be the absolute key to preserving your independence.
Okay, so there's a widespread problem, often dismissed, linked to a specific deficiency.
But here's the really groundbreaking news. Innovative findings, these are from the National Institute on Aging, have actually pinpointed 6 essential vitamins and nutrients.
6 specific ones.
Yeah, with unique compounds capable of actually reversing muscle wasting. Even in people in their 70s and 80s.
Reversing it, not just slowing it down.
Reversing it. And one discovery really stands out. A top supplement that many doctors honestly overlook, which clinical evidence shows can reverse muscle loss in 87% of study participants.
87%? In how long?
In just 14 days.
2 weeks. That's incredible.
It is. And 92% reported significant improvements in daily things like climbing stairs or, carrying groceries without help.
Wow. So real-world improvements.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is simple. We're going to unpack these 6 critical compounds and talk about what they really mean for your future mobility and, your independence.
All right, let's unpack this then. Let's dive into the first compound in our list. And it's one many might not even think of as a traditional vitamin, but its role in muscle health for seniors is absolutely crucial.
Okay, so we're kicking things off with number 6 on our list, coenzyme Q10, or CoQ10 for short. Now, this compound, it plays a really foundational role right down at the cellular level.
That's right. Specifically in the mitochondria of your muscle cells. Those are the little powerhouses,
Yeah.
They churn out over 95% of your body's energy.
95%. So basically everything. And here's the kicker. With age, your CoQ10 levels can drop dramatically. We're talking as much as 65%.
Yeah, a huge drop. And what does that mean practically? Well, that decline directly feeds into what we call an energy deficit.
Which
often just feels like getting old, unexplained weakness, fatigue. That doesn't seem to have a clear cause.
Right.
But here's a really critical point. The link between some very common medications and reduced CoQ10, especially statins, the ones used for cholesterol.
Ah, that's a big one. So many seniors are on statins.
Exactly. And it creates this, troubling situation where a drug meant to help one aspect of health might actually be speeding up muscle decline by depleting CoQ10.
So are there studies on this?
Oh, yes. Studies show over 60% of seniors taking statins report muscle pain, weakness, or fatigue that's directly linked to this CoQ10 depletion. It's essentially a fuel problem for the muscles.
A fuel problem you can actually address.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're looking to sort of bridge that energy gap, what's the practical advice? How much CoQ10 should people aim for?
Well, for most seniors, a daily intake of about 100 to 200 milligrams is generally a good starting point.
Okay.
But, and this is important, if you are on statins, you might need higher doses. maybe more like 200 to 300 milligrams, to really see the benefits and counteract that depletion effect.
Right. And can you get enough from food? I know it's in things like organ meats, fatty fish.
You can, technically. Organ meats, fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, some whole grains have it, but the amounts are usually quite minimal if you're looking for a therapeutic effect.
So diet helps, but probably not enough on its own for this kind of support.
For most people aiming to significantly boost levels, especially if they're on statins or feeling that fatigue, supplementation becomes pretty essential.
Okay, supplementation, which naturally brings up the question of absorption. CoQ10 is fat-soluble, right? Does that make it harder to absorb?
It can, especially as we age, and digestive efficiency sometimes decreases. So bioavailability is key when you're choosing a supplement.
What should people look for then?
Look for forms like ubiquinol. That's the active already converted form, so your body doesn't have to do that work. Or look for labels that mention enhanced bioavailability.
How do they enhance it?
Sometimes they add things like black pepper extract, like bioprene, that can boost absorption by up to 30%.
30% just from black pepper extract. Interesting.
Yeah. And there are also some newer, more innovative formulas out there. Some use patented water-soluble technology, which can boast like 300% greater absorption. That's particularly helpful for a fat-soluble nutrient like CoQ10, especially for seniors.
Wow, okay. So ubiquinol, or formulas with enhanced absorption tech. Good to know. Right, let's move on. Next up in our essential lineup, number 5, is vitamin D.
Ah, vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin.
Exactly. Most people know it's crucial for bone health. But what's its kind of hidden superpower when it comes to our muscles as we age?
Well, it's definitely far more than just bones. Think of vitamin D almost like a signaling beacon for your muscles.
A signaling beacon.
Yeah. Your actual muscle tissues are studded with vitamin D receptors, little docking stations.
Yeah.
And if these receptors aren't properly activated because you don't have enough vitamin D, well, your muscles can gradually weaken and even atrophy, shrink.
So deficiency directly impacts muscle strength.
Directly. And clinical studies consistently back this up. Seniors with optimal vitamin D levels show significantly improved muscle function, better strength, better balance.
Better balance is huge for preventing falls.
Absolutely. There was one really striking study where older adults who started supplementing with vitamin D actually saw a 20% decrease in falls.
20%. That's a direct reflection of better muscle control and strength, right?
Exactly. And this isn't a rare issue. Over 40% of seniors are deficient in vitamin D. And that number climbs even higher for people who are homebound or don't get much sun exposure.
40% is a lot, so if someone's feeling that unexplained muscle weakness, getting their vitamin D level checked seems like a really smart move.
It really does. It's a simple blood test. And remember, vitamin D is also crucial for how your body handles calcium.
Right. Calcium for muscle contraction.
Precisely. Without enough vitamin D, your muscles literally struggle to use the calcium they need effectively. And that leads directly to weakness and diminished coordination.
Okay, so it's vital. What should we be aiming for then, daily intake-wise?
For adults age 65 and older, the general recommendation is usually around 800 to 1,000 international units, or IU, per day.
Okay.
However, many experts in the field, myself included, often advocate for a bit higher, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily, especially for those who live in northern latitudes, have darker skin, or get limited sun exposure.
Right. Makes sense. And food sources. Fatty fish again.
Yep. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel are good sources. Egg yolks have some. And fortified foods like milk or some cereals.
But like CoQ10, maybe not enough from diet alone for optimal levels.
For many seniors, yes. Reaching that optimal 1,000, 2,000 IU range often requires supplementation. It's just more practical and reliable.
So when looking at supplements, what's important for vitamin D?
Well, first you want to look for vitamin D3, that's cholecalciferol. Studies show it's generally more effective, something like 87% more effective than the D2 form at actually raising your blood levels.
D3, got it. Anything else?
Look for quality assurance. See if the product has third-party verification, like a USP verified mark. That means an independent group has tested it for purity, potency, and quality. You know what you're actually getting.
Good tip. What about liquid forms? Some people prefer those.
Liquid options can be great, especially if they're in an oil base, like olive oil. Since vitamin D is fat-soluble, taking it with some fat enhances absorption, a liquid dropper makes dosing easy too.
Okay, D3, look for verification, consider liquids and oil. Great advice. All right, moving down our list. Our fourth essential compound for this deep dive is vitamin B12. How does this one become a silent challenge for muscles as we get older?
B12 It's quite insidious, actually, because the main issue isn't usually intake, it's absorption. As we age, our body's ability to absorb B12 from food declines, often significantly and often without us even realizing it.
And why is that a problem for muscles?
Because vitamin B12 is absolutely vital for nerve function. Think of nerves as the communication highway between your brain and your muscles.
Sending the signals to move, to contract.
Yeah, exactly. And when that communication starts to falter because of poor nerve health due to low B12, what do you see? Diminished strength, lack of coordination, eventually even muscle atrophy.
And people might just think, oh, I'm just getting clumsy, or my legs feel weak because I'm old.
Precisely. That's why B12 deficiency symptoms are so frequently mistaken for just normal aging. They tend to creep up gradually over years.
So testing is important here too.
Regular blood testing for B12 is essential for seniors, especially, and this is crucial, if you're taking certain common medications. Things like metformin for diabetes or proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, for acid reflux. Both are known to significantly impair B12 absorption.
Okay, metformin and PPIs. Good to be aware of. Are there other roles B12 plays for muscles?
Yes, definitely. B12 is crucial for making healthy red blood cells.
Which carry oxygen.
Right. And muscles need a constant supply of oxygen to produce energy efficiently. If you're low on B12, you might not make enough healthy red blood cells, leading to less oxygen delivery, and guess what? Muscle fatigue and diminished performance.
Makes sense. The energy connection again.
And one more thing, B12 helps maintain the myelin sheath. That's the protective coating around your nerves.
Like insulation on a wire.
Perfect analogy. If that myelin sheath starts to break down because of B12 deficiency, nerve signals get scrambled. Your muscles might receive mixed signals, leading to things like tremors, an unsteady gait, a decline in fine motor skills, precise movements.
Wow, okay. Nerve communication, oxygen supply, nerve protection. B12 is busy. So what's the recommended intake, and how do we navigate those absorption issues?
The suggested daily intake for seniors is actually quite small, just 2.4 micrograms.
Micrograms, not milligrams. Tiny amount.
Tiny amount. But because of those absorption challenges we talked about, simply getting that 2.4 milligrams from food often isn't enough to maintain adequate levels. Higher doses through supplementation are frequently needed.
And food sources are mostly animal products.
Yes, meat, fish, eggs, dairy. Those are the main natural sources. But here's the catch. A condition called atrophic gastritis, where the stomach lining thins, affects up to 30% of adults over 50.
30%.
Yeah, and that condition makes it incredibly difficult to release and absorb B12 from food proteins. So even if you eat enough B12-rich food, your body might not be able to use it.
Which makes supplementation almost necessary for a lot of people in that group.
Or even B12 injections in some cases, yes.
So for supplements, what should we look for to maximize absorption?
Bioavailability, again, is key. Look for the methylcobalamin form of B12. Research suggests it stays active in your tissues longer than the more common, cheaper cyanocobalamin form.
Methylcobalamin, okay.
And consider the delivery method. Sublingual lozenges, the kind that melt onto your tongue, are excellent because they bypass the digestive system altogether. The B12 gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream.
Ah, avoiding the stomach acid and absorption issues. Smart.
Exactly. Another good option can be food-based formulas. Sometimes they include probiotics and enzymes designed to boost absorption. Some studies suggest these can improve uptake by up to 60%. And some even come in convenient spray delivery systems now.
Lots of options to get around the absorption problem. Great. Okay, let's shift gears slightly, moving beyond nerve signals to actual structural support. Our third essential compound, vitamin C. This one does more than just fight colds, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Vitamin C is a real multitasker when it comes to muscle health. It works through several really crucial mechanisms.
Like what? What's the main connection?
Probably the most significant is its vital role in synthesizing collagen.
Collagen. People usually think skin, maybe joints.
Right, but collagen is much more than that. It's the main protein that creates the connective tissues, the fascia, tendons that actually envelop, support, and give structure to your muscles.
Ah, the scaffolding around the muscle fibers.
Exactly. Without enough vitamin C, your body can't produce enough healthy collagen. Those supportive structures become weaker, compromised. This leads to muscle instability and, frankly, a much higher risk of strains, tears, and other injuries.
So strong connective tissue relies on vitamin C. That makes sense.
And what's fascinating is that research backs this up directly in older adults. Studies consistently show that seniors with higher vitamin C levels demonstrate notably better grip strength and overall muscle function.
Grip strength is a really good indicator of overall muscle health, isn't it?
It really is. Plus, vitamin C is a potent antioxidant.
Fighting those free radicals.
Exactly. Muscles generate free radicals during activity and just through normal metabolism. Over time, these can cause oxidative damage, leading to muscle weakness and atrophy. Vitamin C helps neutralize these harmful compounds, protecting the integrity and function of your muscle cells.
Protecting the muscles from wear and tear, essentially.
In a way, yes. And there's one more important role: energy production. Vitamin C is essential for synthesizing carnitine.
Carnitine, what does that do?
Carnitine's job is to transport fatty acids into the mitochondria so they can burn for energy.
Converting fat into fuel for the muscle?
Precisely. So if your vitamin C levels are low, carnitine synthesis can be impaired, which can directly compromise energy production in your muscles, leading to fatigue and weakness.
Okay, collagen synthesis, antioxidant protection, energy production via carnitine. Vitamin C is definitely busy. How much should seniors aim for?
The basic recommendation is typically 75 milligrams for women, 90 for men daily.
That sounds achievable through diet.
It often is. However, for optimal muscle health benefits, many experts, again, suggest aiming higher, maybe 200 to 400 milligrams today.
Okay, 200 to 400. And food sources are pretty well known, right?
Oh, yeah. Citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruits, berries, peppers, tomatoes, broccoli, even potatoes have a decent amount. Lots of vibrant fruits and vegetables.
But there's a catch with vitamin C, isn't there? Storage.
That's right. Your body doesn't store vitamin C for long periods like it does fat-soluble vitamins. It's water-soluble, so you need a steady, consistent daily intake to keep reaping those muscle-preserving benefits. You can't just load up once a week.
Daily intake is key. So if someone supplements, what should they look for with vitamin C?
Again, maximizing absorption and how long it stays active is helpful. Some formulas combine standard ascorbic acid with citrus flavonoids.
Flavonoids, like the compounds in colorful plants.
Exactly. University research suggests these flavonoids can actually increase the absorption of vitamin C and extend its activity within the body, including in muscle tissue, by about 35%.
Interesting. So vitamin C plus flavonoids. Any other advanced forms?
Yes, liposomal vitamin C is another excellent option. This uses a really clever delivery system.
Liposomal, how does that work?
It encapsulates the vitamin C molecule inside tiny spheres made of phospholipids, similar to your own cell membranes. This protects the vitamin through digestion and allows for much better absorption directly into cells.
So higher bioavailability.
Significantly higher. Studies have shown bioavailability increases of up to 98% compared to standard oral supplements. It ensures more of the vitamin C actually gets delivered where it's needed most, like your muscle tissues.
Wow, liposomal C sounds very efficient. Okay, great info on vitamin C. Now let's move to our second most critical nutrient. This one's a mineral, often overlooked, but absolutely colossal for muscle function. Magnesium. Why is magnesium so crucial, and why do so many seniors fall short?
Magnesium is truly foundational for muscle health. Its roles are incredibly diverse, but let's focus on a few key ones. First, muscle contraction and relaxation.
Both. How does it do both?
Well, calcium is needed for muscle contraction, right? Magnesium acts almost like a natural calcium blocker. It helps push calcium out of the muscle cells after contraction, allowing the muscle to relax.
Ah, so it's the off switch.
Exactly. If you don't have enough magnesium, calcium can linger in the muscle cells, keeping them partially contracted. This leads to those frustrating cramps, spasms, muscle tightness, ongoing tension.
Things people often complain about as they age.
Absolutely. And this chronic tension can speed up muscle fatigue and even break down over time. And again, these symptoms are so often just dismissed as part of getting older.
Okay, relaxation is key. What else? Energy again.
Yes, energy is huge for magnesium too. It's essential for the production of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's your body's main energy currency.
The fuel we talked about with CoQ10.
Right. Muscles are incredibly dynamic, energy-hungry tissues. Without enough magnesium, ATP production falters. Your muscles just can't generate enough energy, leading to that profound weakness and diminished endurance you might feel during everyday activities.
So low magnesium equals low muscle energy?
Pretty directly, yes. And third, magnesium plays a pivotal role in regulating protein synthesis within your muscles.
Making new muscle protein.
And maintaining existing muscle structure. Research clearly indicates that even a slight magnesium deficiency can hinder your muscles' ability to build and maintain their protein structures. This directly accelerates age-related muscle deterioration, or sarcopenia.
Relaxation, energy, protein synthesis. Okay, magnesium is clearly vital. How much should we be aiming for?
The daily intake goals for seniors are generally around 320 milligrams for women and 420 milligrams for men.
And where do we find it in food?
Excellent sources include dark leafy greens like spinach and kale, nuts, seeds, whole grains, beans, legumes. Think plant-based foods often.
So a healthy diet should provide enough.
You'd think so, but research consistently highlights that over 60% of older adults fail to get enough magnesium through their diet alone.
Over 60%. Why is it so common to be low?
Several reasons. Dietary intake might be lower, absorption can decrease with age, and also critically, many common medications that seniors take can deplete magnesium levels.
Which medications are culprits here?
Diuretics, often used for blood pressure. Those proton pump inhibitors, PPIs, we mentioned for acid reflux. Even some antibiotics can lower magnesium levels.
So it's a combination of factors potentially leading to deficiency.
Exactly. And as we keep saying, the symptoms, fatigue, weakness, muscle cramps, are so easily overlooked or misattributed to just aging, meaning many seniors might be deficient and not even realize it, let alone get treated.
So if supplementation is needed, what form of magnesium is best? There seem to be many kinds.
Yes, there are several forms. Magnesium oxide is common and cheap, but not very well absorbed. Magnesium citrate is better absorbed, but can have a laxative effect for some people.
Okay, what's a good option then?
Often, magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate is highly recommended.
Why that one?
It tends to have much higher bioavailability. Studies suggest up to 4 times greater absorption than the oxide form. And crucially, it's generally much easier on the stomach. It doesn't typically cause that laxative effect, which means people are more likely to actually stick with taking it consistently.
High absorption, gentle on the stomach. Magnesium glycinate sounds like a winner.
Okay, fantastic. We've covered 5 crucial nutrients. Now it's time for number 1. The nutrient taking the top spot, the most overlooked and perhaps surprisingly effective supplement for seniors focused on preserving muscle mass and strength. Creatine.
Ah, creatine.
Now, I know what some listeners might be thinking. Creatine? Is that just for young guys trying to bulk up at the gym?
That's the common perception, absolutely.
Well, it's time we seriously challenge that perception. What makes creatine so uniquely powerful for our aging muscles? It's not just about energy, is it?
No, it goes far beyond just providing quick energy, although it does that very well. Creatine acts almost like a rejuvenation signal for your muscles.
Rejuvenation signal. Tell me more. Okay, so first, the energy part is still important. Creatine significantly boosts your muscle stores of phosphocreatine. This is the immediate reserve used to regenerate ATP, that energy currency we keep mentioning.
So it helps make energy faster.
Exactly, especially for quick, intense bursts of activity. Think about things like climbing a flight of stairs quickly, getting up from a low chair without using your arms, or even that quick reaction needed to catch yourself if you start to stumble.
Ah, those functional movements that really impact independence.
Precisely the ones. These are the exact movements that become harder as we age, and where creatine can make a real difference in power output. But here's where it gets even more remarkable.
Okay.
Creatine has this unique ability to boost the activity and number of satellite cells.
Satellite cells, what are those?
They're essentially your muscle's own stem cells. They hang out near muscle fibers, and they are absolutely key players in muscle repair, regeneration, and growth.
Muscle stem cells. Okay.
Now, studies show that the activity of these crucial satellite cells can drop by as much as 50% by the time we reach age 60.
50%. That severely limits the muscle's ability to repair itself, right?
Hugely. It significantly hinders your body's capacity to maintain, let alone build, muscle tissue as you get older. But here's the breakthrough finding.
Yes.
Creatine supplementation has been shown to boost satellite cell activation and proliferation by as much as 35%.
Wow. So it's actively helping the muscle regenerate and repair itself.
Actively. It's like turning up the volume on your muscle's natural repair crew.
Yeah.
And this is backed by compelling clinical trials, specifically in seniors.
What did those trials show?
When seniors combine creatine supplementation with just light resistance exercise, not heavy weightlifting, just light exercise, they saw significantly better results than exercise alone. We're talking about boosting muscle strength by an average of 14% more and adding about 2.2 pounds of lean muscle mass.
2 pounds of lean mass.
In just 12 weeks. Those are results that would typically take much, much longer to achieve with exercise alone at that age.
That's incredible. So it's not just about preserving muscle. Creatine can actually help rebuild it, even later in life.
It fundamentally challenges that old idea that age-related muscle loss, sarcopenia, is just an irreversible decline. Creatine offers a tool to actively fight back and rebuild.
This really does sound like a game changer. Okay, so how much creatine are we talking about for seniors? Is it different from what athletes use?
The dosage is actually quite simple and consistent. Seniors are generally advised to take 3 to 5 grams per day.
3 to 5 grams daily. And what about that loading phase you sometimes hear about?
Good question. For seniors focused on health and function, there's really no need for that initial high-dose loading phase often used by athletes. Just a consistent 3 to 5 grams daily is effective.
Okay. Can you get that much from food? I know red meat and fish have some creatine.
They do, but again, like CoQ10, the amounts are relatively small in the context of therapeutic doses. To get, say, 5 grams of creatine from food, you'd need to eat about 2.5 pounds of uncooked beef or salmon every single day.
2.5 pounds.
Okay.
Clearly not practical or advisable.
Not at all. So supplementation becomes not just practical, but really essential to achieve these kinds of muscle benefits consistently.
Right. So when choosing a creatine supplement, what should seniors look for? Is it just creatine?
The most studied, effective, and recommended form is creatine monohydrate.
Creatine monohydrate.
Yes. And ideally, look for micronized creatine monohydrate.
Micronized. What does that mean?
It means the powder has been processed into much smaller particles. This increases the surface area by about 20 times, which significantly improves how well it dissolves in water and, importantly, how well it's absorbed by the body.
Better absorption, especially helpful for seniors, maybe?
Exactly, especially if digestive efficiency might be slightly reduced.
Yeah.
And look for pharmaceutical-grade quality if possible.
And safety. Is creatine safe for older adults long term?
That's a really important question. And the safety profile for creatine monohydrate is actually remarkable. It's one of the most researched supplements on the planet, with over 200 peer-reviewed studies, many including older populations, consistently validating its safety even for extended long-term use.
That's very reassuring.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, there's even emerging research suggesting creatine might offer additional benefits beyond muscle. Some studies indicate potential advantages for brain health and cognitive performance as well.
Muscle and brain benefits. That's a powerful combination for healthy aging.
It really is a potential twofold benefit for older adults.
Okay, wow. Creatine definitely earns its #1 spot. So we've covered CoQ10, vitamin D, B12, vitamin C, magnesium, and now creatine. 6 key players. What does this all mean for you, the listener?
Well, I think the key takeaway is synergy.
Synergy, meaning they work better together.
Exactly. While each of these nutrients has its own specific important roles, incorporating all 6 into your health strategy likely produces a synergistic effect. The combined impact is probably greater than the sum of its parts.
Like having a dedicated team working together for your muscle maintenance?
That's a great way to put it. Each member plays a crucial interconnected role in safeguarding your strength, your function, your mobility.
And while we've talked a lot about supplements, especially for bridging gaps or dealing with absorption issues,
We absolutely have to emphasize prioritizing whole foods first, whenever possible.
definitely. A vibrant diet, one that's rich in a variety of colorful vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, healthy fats from nuts and seeds, whole grains that provides not only these essential vitamins and minerals, but also fiber, phytonutrients, and countless other beneficial compounds that all work together to support robust muscle health.
Supplements are there to fill the gaps, to optimize levels when diet alone isn't enough, or when specific needs like medication interactions come into play.
Right. And let's reiterate the core message here. Preserving muscle as you age, it goes so far beyond just aesthetics, beyond how you look.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally about preserving your autonomy, your ability to live independently.
It's about dramatically reducing your risk of debilitating falls.
It's about boosting your metabolism, which impacts weight management and overall energy.
It's really about profoundly improving your overall quality of life, your well-being, as you navigate your later years.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, by actively taking steps to ensure you have optimal levels of these 6 essential nutrients, you're doing more than just addressing a potential deficiency.
You're making an investment.
You're making an invaluable investment in your future mobility, your future independence. And honestly, that's an investment that truly transcends monetary value as you age.
So true. What's the actionable advice then? If someone listening is thinking, I wonder if I have gaps here.
The best first step is always to consult with your doctor or a knowledgeable healthcare provider. Talk about your concerns, your diet, your medications. They can discuss appropriate testing. Simple blood tests can check levels for vitamin D, B12, magnesium, for example.
And based on those results and your individual situation, they can help you figure out the most suitable supplementation options, if needed.
Exactly. It's about being proactive. By providing your body with the proper nutritional foundation, you really can effectively combat much of what was once considered just inevitable age-related muscle loss. You can help ensure your strength and vitality endure for many years ahead.
It's empowering information, and it leads to a final thought, something for you to consider. If simply understanding and addressing these often overlooked nutritional elements, these 6 compounds we discussed can potentially reverse significant muscle loss in just a couple of weeks and dramatically improve daily activities. Well, what other aspects of what we consider normal aging might also be entirely within your control to change?
That's a powerful question.
What if the real path to truly thriving in your later years isn't so much about just slowing down, but more about smarter nourishment, smarter choices, being empowered with this kind of knowledge?
It reframes aging quite a bit, doesn't it? More about proactive optimization than passive decline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We really hope this deep dive has empowered you to feel more in control of your health journey, particularly when it comes to maintaining that vital muscle strength for the future.